This tax deadline day of April 17th.
It is. Talking about money, of course, as you mentioned, it's tax day, and some of you may not have filed yet. Right now, we have an expert in studio to help you out. Pedro Rincon of Osborne Rincon CPAs in La Quinta is joining us this morning. Pedro, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I know it's a busy day for you as everybody's trying to meet those tax deadlines.
Getting down to the wire here.
That's right. Well, we do have a few questions for you. If somebody hasn't filed yet, or if they owe and they're maybe in a rush trying to get everything ready, what should they do today?
Well, the most important thing would be file something. So if you don't have your information organized in a fashion where you can prepare an accurate return, I would recommend filing an extension, which is a 6-month extension to file your tax returns. But the catch is, if you owe money, you actually have to pay it today. So if you've paid in the past, I would recommend paying something in and at least avoiding a late payment penalty. But file definitely something, either a tax return or an extension.
Is there something available in this year as opposed to last year, or something new for taxpayers so maybe they can reduce how much they owe in tax? Or is there any kind of like credits or anything like that going on?
For 2012?
Yes.
Or for this coming year, most of the credits are still intact. If you recall, there was the extension that was done kind of at the last minute for 2011 and 2012 tax years. So the tax rates are actually still at the lowest they've been in several years. So one thing they may want to consider is if there's an opportunity to recognize some income in this coming year, 2012, they may want to do it because the rates may go up depending on what happens with the election.
So today it must be postmarked today by the post office, otherwise it's going to be officially late.
Exactly. And now the IRS actually lets you go online, so you can actually e-file your extension as well as your tax returns online through them. So it doesn't mean you have to necessarily wait till the last minute to go to the post office.
Online's faster.
Exactly.
What about
Plus, it's a one-sheet form, so it's not a complicated thing.
Is there anything people should start doing now if they've already filed to maybe prepare for next year?
What I would recommend is, for example, I'm not a big fan of big refunds. What that means is you basically gave the government an interest-free loan. So look at your withholdings. If you owed money, then obviously look at your withholdings again, because that means you didn't withhold enough. But also look at your circumstances for this coming year. If you had what I consider a life-changing event, you got married, you have a child, you bought a house, you may want to actually reduce your withholdings because you'll have more itemized deductions and exemptions for next year. So it's something to consider.
Now, sometimes we hear about the post offices that stay open late and people rush over to try to get it postmarked by the end of the day. Do you know of anything going on like that locally where people can, have a few extra hours to get their taxes in via mail?
I'm not aware of the local post office, and it's interesting because right down from our office is the post office in La Quinta. My understanding is the local post offices are staying open till 5. I think in Riverside you can drive in, and I think they're open till midnight. But again, everything's so much online now, it's actually pretty easy. And
just to be clear, we talked about it a little bit, but as far as the payment, so if you send in your payment today, it's postmarked today, then you're fine?
Yes, provided you paid in what you owed, it's sufficient, it's a sufficient payment. If you're short of what you owe, that difference you'll pay a late payment fee and interest.
Okay, very informative.
So sometimes you want to try to be a little conservative and pay a little extra cushion.
Okay, that's good to know. Well, Pedro, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And if you have questions for Pedro, go to osbornerincon.com. The address is right there on your screen, and their phone number is right there as well. And you can ask them any questions. They'll be prepared today on tax day to take your questions till pretty late, I'm sure. Thank you so much again, Pedro, for joining us.
Well, still to come on KMIR 6.